So you don't want to confuse effort with results, nor do you want to be doing too much and stretch too thin to the point to where it makes you unfruitful. I want to begin by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai, Bahashem, Rekah Kodash, and double honor to the other apostles of Great Millstone, also known as GMS, in salutation to the Most High's man in the four corners of the earth, pushing his word, sincerity, and truth, and shalom to the sisters that support and subscribe wholeheartedly to the message of deliverance and salvation of Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shai. It's your brother Binyamyan from GMS Jackson, Mississippi, with a topic going into doing too much. So when you do too much, 99.9% of the time is ultimately your fault. Why? Because you take upon many endeavors, you take upon many practices, you take upon many habits, you take upon many people, right? To where you're carrying a lot of loads and a lot of burdens and you're placing them upon your back. And then when it comes time to you examine yourself and you're always telling yourself that I'm trying to find balance, but you never find balance because you never taken the time to do the hard reset and prioritizing and properly allocating the things that you're involved in. So let's start here in the book of Luke, chapter 8, in verse 14. And that which fell among the thorns are they, which when they have heard go forth and are choked with cares and riches and pleasures of this life, and bring no fruit to perfection. And this goes into the recipients, right? Those who heard the words of Yahweh Bashem Yahweh Shai, because not every particular seed that is planted is going to spring forward. And the main point from here to bring out and understand your situation, it says that when they have heard, they go forth and are choked with cares and riches and pleasures of this life, going into cares. So when you care about the situations that you're involving yourself in, and as I mentioned, you can be stretched so thin to where you are responsible for multiple households, multiple people, multiple situations, multiple responsibilities, multiple duties. And the whole time you're pouring into all these other cups. And when you take a look at your cup, your cup may not even be half full. It may not even be partially full. So that means what? That you have to learn the balance in between being that electrical socket. Because what is an electrical socket? An electrical socket is something that you plug into. And that's what happens when you become imbalanced. So many people are plugging into you to where when they don't need you anymore, then they unplug. Then where do you get your power source from? Where do you get your help and motivation from? Where do you get the aid that you need from? And that's why I've always focused very, very much so lately in one thing. Involve yourself in one thing at a time. You can have a list of 100 items, but only do one thing at a time. When it's time for you to labor and work for Esau, do your 9 to 5, do your hours, whether it's the first shift, second shift, third shift, and dedicate your mind into doing that particular job and doing it well, right? As it is written, whatsoever thou takest thy hand to do, do with all thy might. So perform on the job. When you get off work, don't take the work with you. Now do one more thing that you need to do. And what do you plan on doing? Do you plan on reading? Do you plan on doing a video? Do you plan on working out? Do you plan on spending time doing something? And just do that one thing, right? You're going to go have a conversation with the family member. Have a conversation with your parents if they're still around. Have a conversation with your siblings if they're around. Do that one thing. Okay, got work out the way, got communication out the way. Okay, now it's time for me to study, read, do a video. All right, do that one thing. And then just isolate things and place them inside of blocks and inside of windows. That way that you don't get choked up by trying to handle all these other things, because what is fertilizer and weed killer? When you look at how a great field can have sticker brow bushes, it can have weeds, it can have forestry that's growing up, bushes, right? Vegetation. But once you cut it down, you mow it down, and then you place the fertilizer So these other things can't spring forth up and do what? And choke it out. That's why you have more forestry and vegetation than you do have grass life. But once you reverse it, you have what? You have more grass life and no longer vegetation, right? You don't have the trees growing up. You don't have the shrubbage growing up. You don't have the weeds springing forth, because those are the things that choke out the true essence of the grass that is to be grown. So now let's get the chapter 10. We'll get chapter 10, and then we're going to read here in 41 in the book of Luke. And Yahushua answered and said unto her, Martha, Martha, thou art careful and troubled about many things, right? So when you're tending to many things, it gives you chemical imbalances, right? Because you're playing the juggling effect, and you're losing. Whether you know it or not, you're losing, and you're sinking and you're drowning. And trust me and believe you me, I know, because I've been there and I understand it. And through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, when you simplify things in your life, things become simplified. But when you overly complicate things in your life, you're going to have an overly complicated life. You're going to run into troubles left and right. You're going to always be chasing, and you're going to be treadmilling. You're going to be the jack of all trades and the master of none. So as it is written, seek ye first the kingdom of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai, and all these things shall be added unto thee. But here in verse 42, it says, but one thing is needful. Luke 10 and 42. But one thing is needful, right? First and foremost, the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai is that one thing that we need, okay? Because what comes along with the spirit of the Heavenly Father is discipline. What else comes along with that? Balance. So once you have the spirit of the Lord, then now you have a disciplined spirit, and then you have a balanced spirit. Everything else around you is going to be of non-significance. Even if it is of a great dire of importance, your spiritual discipline and your spiritual balance is going to have you with a mindset to where it's like, nah, I got it. I'll take care of it. Or it's going to work itself out. Or I have that lined up at this particular point in time. You know, because what we all have found ourselves trying to do, we've had the struggle with so-called, even people in the truth have a struggle with so-called work and life balance. But the true believers out there, which are the hopeful elect members, they have a work, life, and spirit balance. Why? Because we have our duties that we have to do as far as working with our own hands, right? Working for Esau, making our ends meet, so to speak. Then we have the carnal aspect on it, which are our duties, responsibilities, different family, immediate family members, right? Households, children. Then you have the brotherhood. Some of you sisters may have a small sisterhood circle. You have the congregating. Then you have the work of the Lord, right? And not only just on the highways and the hedges, but your daily, weekly videos, coming up with outlines and subject matter to touch upon through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashem Yahushai. You know, and then you have to working out, which takes time, right? You have to drive to the destination. You have to perform at the destination, whether it's at a park, a gym. But you have to physically get there. You have to physically spend more time doing the activity. So there's a lot that goes into sustaining ourselves in this life. So it's easy to be doing too much. It's easy to get caught doing too much. You can have a travel bug on you to where you just never sit down, right? You can have so many things going on in your hometown, your home state, to where you never sit down. And you're always chasing balance, and balance is always going to run away from you until you do one thing. You have to simplify your life by doing one thing. And within that window of you doing that one thing, nothing else outside that window matters, unless there's some type of emergency. Or unless, you know, you truly have something else lined up to the point to, like, after I do this one thing, I already know what I have lined up next. And it's you taking control over your life without life taking control over you. Because once you get so submerged and overwhelmed, you become depressed, you gain anxiety, you develop resentment, you go through emotions of feeling unappreciated, and it's just a whirlwind. So now let's get the book of Ecclesiastes chapter 3. And we'll just read from the top, which is verse 1. Ecclesiastes chapter 3 and verse 1. To everything there is a season, and to every time a purpose under the heaven. All right, I'm going to read it again. To everything there is a season. That's what we understand. We know that there is, for everything under the sun of Yahweh Shem Hawashai, there's a season for it, right? A season and a time for everything. But it does not state that there is to everything, right? As it's written, to everything there is a season. It doesn't say for every season there is everything, right? So it's not speaking in reversal terms. And a time to every purpose under the heaven. So once you start allocating one thing and dedicating yourself to one thing, you'll understand what's really important. You'll understand what's benefiting you and what's not benefiting you. You understand where you're wasting your time doing X, Y, and Z, or wasting your time being in X, Y, and Z location, to where you truly have to develop a sense of selfishness and knowing what it is that the Most High has set you out to do, and are you doing those things? If you're not doing the will of Yahweh Shem Hawashai, and you're doing things that are according to your own thought processes and patterns and what you believe to be, then that pit that you're in is going to be very difficult to climb out of. So now let's get the book of Exodus. And this will be Exodus chapter 18 and verse 17. And Moses, his father-in-law, said unto him, the thing that thou doest is not good. Right? And this is when Moses, he was trying to judge all of the nation of Israel alone, himself alone. So this is what his father-in-law told him. Thou wilt surely wear away. And that's what happens when you take upon all these affairs in this world. When you take upon all of these things, not just one thing, you got 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 things that you involve yourself in, right? You want to be an entrepreneur. You want to have a 9 to 5. You want to pick up a trade. You want to develop a habit. You want to get into a routine. You want to work out. You want to travel. You want to hang out with this person, hang out with that person, communicate here, communicate there, be a man of the Lord, be a woman of the Lord, right? It's just too much. It's just too much. Thou wilt surely wear away, both thou and this people that is with thee. So that means what? That you're not benefiting yourself nor the people that you are doing these things for. Or those things that you're involving yourself in. You're not benefiting yourself or it. That's exactly what it's saying here, right? Because it says, thou wilt surely wear away, both thou and this people that is with thee. Meaning what? The people that he was judging. For this thing is too heavy for thee. Thou art not able to perform it thyself alone. And that's what we have to understand. We have to understand through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shem Hawashai, are we truly working on his assignment? Or do we have his assignment mixed in with all of these other things that don't really truly benefit us performing our best on his assignment, right? And I'm not saying cut off any and everything that you're doing, but what I'm saying is allocate yourself to one of those particular things at a time. Then that way you can perform better. When you're at the gym, just work out, be at the gym. Pump that iron, do that cardio, do your calisthenics, do your walking, do your running when you're at the park, whatever. Just do that, right? Don't try to be excessive and, now you want to look on the stock market, you want to look into real estate while you're at the gym. I've even seen people bring books to the gym and they will sit on a machine, do a set, pick a book up, read a couple pages or a few words, however they do it. They're definitely not speed readers. They put the book down and go back to lifting weights. That's just stupid. That makes absolutely no sense to me. It's like trying to listen to music underwater. Now, if you're just swimming, just go swimming. Like people like, no, I want to get down to the bottom and go to the surface and bring my radio down there with me so I can dance on the bottom. No, just swim while you're swimming and dance when you want to dance. All right, so now let's get the book of James, and we'll get ready to close out real soon here. James, and this will be James 1 and verse 8. A double-minded man is unstable in all his ways, right? So let your eye be single, let your mind be single, because you can't go two ways. And even the things that we've involved ourselves in the past, we've multiplied that. We've been above and beyond being double, right? It's been triple, quadruple, sextuple. It's just been very, very well much excessive. So until you cut out the excessivity, right, and being a person that's always doing too much, you're going to be a person who continues to feel and fall behind, right? Because you're not living up to the true potential of that spirit of Yahweh Shem Shai that is within you. So now let's get the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 12 and 14. For the body is not one member, but many. All right. So the body is not just one member itself, it's many. So your body cannot do everything, right? It has different members that are supposed to execute on doing different things. The arm and the hand is supposed to be able to extend and reach. The legs and the feet are supposed to be able to bring you along the way. The mind is supposed to thought and be strategic. The mouth is supposed to vocalize things. Imagine your foot trying to speak. Imagine your waist trying to be your critical thinker. It doesn't work like that. So we, within our own lives, we can't attempt to try to function like that as well. Meaning what? That we're going to do everything and be everything. You can't do everything and be everybody. You just can't. You have to do what you can according to the will of Yahweh Shem Shai with the spirit that he enhanced you to have. And you have to look at everything in singular, right? Just do one thing. If you simplify your life with just doing one thing, then you won't overcomplicate it. So now let's get one last closer here. I will stay here in 1 Corinthians. This will be 1 Corinthians 14 and 33. For the Most High is not the author of confusion, but of peace, as in all churches of the saints. The Most High is not the author of confusion, and we'll involve ourselves in all these particular things and wonder why we're overwhelmed, wonder why we're confused and how X, Y, and Z isn't working out. It's not going to work out, right? Because until you're able to dedicate your mind to one thing and fully starting it and continuing up until finish, it's going to be an unfinished project, and you're just going to add more things onto it. Oh, yeah, I haven't gotten back around to this because I'm doing this. Then, okay, now I got two things I'm doing. Yeah, I haven't finished these two because now I'm doing this. Okay, now we got three things working on. Yeah, I haven't got back to that and that and that and that because now I'm doing this. If it makes sense, it makes sense. So I pray that this was edifying. I'm going to end off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh B'Hashem, Yahweh Shai, B'Hashem, B'Kal Kadash, double honor to the other apostle, great millstone, Ruel. Salutation to the Most High, men in the four corners of the earth. Until next time, it's your brother Ben Yum Yun, and I say Shalom.